Just take the dishwasher discharge line loose up here. You can usually give this line a good twist, you'll see here in a second, and that will usually break it loose. If not, you can use a screwdriver to try to pry it loose a little bit, but you have to be careful not to tear it. Set that aside for the moment. And of course the discharge line for the garbage disposal, just these 2 screws is all I usually take out, and then that metal plate will drop down. And you can use the tool that comes with the new garbage disposal, or if you have the old one, just put that tool in there and give it a good twist. If you don't have the tool handy, just use a Phillips screwdriver, will do the same thing. And I usually flip it upside down in the cabinet so that I can take the electrical loose. It's just a whole lot easier than trying to work in that tight space with the garbage disposal in place. Just undo all the wires. And here you'll have to work the wires loose. It's usually pretty tight up in there. And just be patient. Don't force the wires because you'll wind up tearing the jacket. If you have to, take the Romex connector off. But just work them slowly and carefully so you don't tear them up. I took it apart, it was moist in there. You can see where it's been leaking right there. Prepare the garbage disposal before it goes back under. See that? Gotta knock that out before you put that back in. Okay, knocking it out. And of course, don't forget to go back in there and retrieve the plastic plug that was in there. And you only need to do this if you have a dishwasher hooked up. If you don't have a dishwasher hooked up, you do not want to knock that plug out because it'll flood the underneath of your cabinet. I already took the electrical cap off and pulled the wires out, and I already put the new Romex connector right there. I've seen garbage disposals hooked up with the wires going through, not these wires of course, but the power wires coming from the house just running right through there like that. Don't do that. This is the sharp edges right here. These wires could end up shorting on the sides. Use the Romex connector so that you don't have a problem like that. Okay, that's it for the preparation. Well, nope, it's not. One more thing to do before you stick the garbage disposal under there is find this gasket here. Usually comes in a bag like this. And make sure to install it right here so that you don't forget about that. Otherwise, it's going to leak like a sieve. I It just makes things so much easier when you're trying to feed these wires through and hook them up than working upside down under the cabinet. To get this through there, I like to put a bend in the wire, kind of like that, to help it turn when it gets to the bottom of that hole. So just kind of gently feed that through. Like that. And once you can get a hold of it, bend the wires up. See what I mean about trying to do this while it's upside down? It'd be a nightmare. I know my hands are in the way, so I just can't help it. Make sure you push it up far enough to get the jacket of the wire in this and not to clamp the clamp down on the wire. And just tighten up the clamp. Tug. Now that you got the electrical hooked up, flip it over and install it, keeping this as close to your discharge as possible. And when you hook this clamp up, make sure that all 3 points are connected right here. There's 3 points. But before you tighten that down, it's a good idea to make sure that you don't need to adjust it here. Looks like it's right on the money. So go ahead and use the tool that came with the garbage disposal and tighten her up, keeping it from turning. Or a Phillips screwdriver. Like that. Just one quick note I wanted to make. Most of these connectors that's in the sink are all the same. Not saying they all are, but a high majority of the time they are. So a lot of times, if there's nothing wrong with it and it's not leaking, I don't bother to replace these because it's just extra work for no reason at all. Unless you really want that replaced, I recommend leaving it there as long as your new garbage disposal will fit. And this stuff here, most of the time I don't change this either. If you're not, I'm using the same garbage disposal in this case, but if you're using a different one, most of the time if it's a Badger, this will still fit. You just might have to move it up and down a little bit, but why bother to change that? It's just a plastic piece of pipe. Alright, so that's that. Alright, let's tighten Sure it is. Good time to make sure this is tight. And also a good time to check the trap. Also a good time to check the trap nut and make sure it's tight. Alright. Just put the dishwasher discharge back on there. And tighten it up. That's about it. We're going to run some water through it and turn it on. Alright guys, if this video was helpful, click on that thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I come out with videos like this as often as I can. Thanks for watching.